completely unrelated to what this video is about, but I just really love how my pregnancy bump looks in this top. And so we're just gonna do a thing. Yes, it feels like yesterday that I made my end of year goals video, my home stretch goals, but your girl wants to get all of these videos out and done before mid-December. So we're just cracking on and we're going to reflect on how my 2021 goals as a whole went, whilst also maybe acknowledging that I'm filming this at the end of November. So I've still got a whole month left to achieve some of these. Before I get into the actual goals that I did set myself at the beginning of 2021, I wanted to first acknowledge some of the things that I have achieved that weren't goals, the unexpected wins, the unplanned things that happened. And I encourage you to do the same in the comments, because sometimes we can get to this time of year and just be like, what have I achieved? I did nothing, I didn't hit any of my goals. And maybe goal setting is one of those things that is not for you because it feels really negative to you. I enjoy goal setting, but in a very flexible way so that it can be adaptive to real life. But however big or however small, there's still plenty of things that have happened this year that we could all probably be proud of. And so I'm going to shout about my things and you can shout about yours in the comments. The first is that I learned Premiere Pro. I'm now a PC gal, and whilst I'm not very good at editing in Premiere Pro, I can do it to a standard that is enough for what I need it for, and I'm very happy about that. Definitely a learning curve and definitely still not very intuitive for me, but I'm still counting it as a win. The other thing is something that I actually started at the end of last year and finished in January 2021. And I talked about a lot in my newsletter, and I can't remember if I ever talked about on YouTube, but I did Yale's Science of Wellbeing course, which was like an online course, lots of videos to watch, different like tasks and homework and stuff to do. And we were in full on lockdown when this was happening, and I was like, how do I be happy? And it genuinely was amazing. I loved this course. It was completely free to do as well. And it takes you through a lot of the things that we as humans assume will make us happy, and scientific research and studies around like why that's not the case and what things actually do make people happier, and encouraging you every week to like practice some of these habits and things that do increase your happiness. And so one of the things that I started doing because of that course was keeping a gratitude journal. And every day, most days, I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for that day. And it's now just become part of my routine. Like, I've done this for an entire year now, which is so cool. And I definitely think helped me with my mindset around trying to conceive, and that taking longer than we expected or longer than we would have wanted it to. Just generally with lockdown and the pandemic, it really helped me focus on the things that I have to be grateful for and the things that I do have control over in some ways. Yeah, I did a gratitude practice this year and I'm actually really happy about it. I'm grateful for my gratitude practice. And then kind of related to that, in order to track myself doing my gratitude practice, I actually created a habit tracker in my Notion. And this again was also to do with lockdown, because I wanted to force myself to get out of the house and like go for a walk every day. And so there's like go outside, read, gratitude, exercise. There's other stuff on there. As kind of like life has changed, different things have like appeared on my habit tracker that I want to do. So taking my folic acid is on there, and then also now doing my Kegels, doing my pelvic floor exercises is on my habit tracker. And then my final unexpected win for 2021 is getting back into tennis. I played tennis from the age of 7 to 18 and then nada for basically 10 years. And it took lockdown for me to be like, I need to get outside and play sport. And I'm so happy that I got back into tennis this year, doing group coaching, but then also like playing competitive matches. Granted, I'm not doing as much as I was because of pregnancy and winter, but it's there. Like, I know that tennis will always be there for me. And I went to Wimbledon this year for the first time in my entire life, and it was a magical experience. I went by myself and it was just so fun. I loved it so much. So yeah, those are all of my wins that weren't goals, that just happened, and I'm grateful for. But now onto the real goals, the things that I set for myself, the things that I can measure myself against and tell myself if I am a success or a failure of a human. No, that's not how we do goal setting around here. I went back and watched my 2021 goals video from the beginning of the year. I'd completely forgotten my whole mentality that I'd had around it being my first year of not setting numbers or metrics goals in terms of things like subscribers, followers, views, like that kind of thing. And well done past me. Like, honestly, very glad that I did that. Previous years, I'd be like, I want this many subscribers, I want this many followers of the podcast, da, 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 da. And that was not bringing me joy, because it felt like something that was very much out of my control. And so what I did this year was set goals that felt like they were more in my control. We'll see. So first, let's go through the goals that I set at the beginning of the year and kind of compare to where I was at my mid-year goals and where I am now. And then we'll get to my homestretch goals. Also, I made my mid-year goals video and then 6 weeks later got pregnant and started feeling like shit. So that definitely changed things. So the first thing on my goals list from the beginning of the year was to complete my sexuality educator certification course. And by the time the mid-year goals rolled around, I was on track. I was fully on track for this. Am I now? My second goal was to hire a new artist for Sexy Scribbles. This I did right at the beginning of the year, and actually now the digital colouring in-book for Sexy Scribbles is live. You can purchase it if you've missed out on the sex positive colouring pages that Louis Lauger, aka Tender Rebellions on Instagram, has made. Then there is a whole colouring book for your pleasure, for your colouring joy. There's the 12 pages that people will have got for free in the newsletter, and then there's also 3 bonus pages that aren't available anywhere else. And actually last year's version of Sexy Scribbles is half price for the month of December. So enjoy. So yes, that goal, tick, tick, tick. My next goal was figure out TikTok/Reels. And since then, YouTube Shorts came out. So there's just even more short form content platforms to be grappling with. What fun. I am still yet to figure them out in the sense of making dedicated content for them. I've drawn a line at TikTok. I've very happily just gone, like, I'm just not even gonna think about that. But I have been using Instagram Reels. However, the way that I've been doing it is for, say, like a fashion video that is going on YouTube, my editor will do like a Reels cut of it. And so there'll be a companion reel, like a shorter version that can go on Instagram, which has been really fun to put together and to post, because obviously not everyone who follows me on Instagram watches these YouTube videos and vice versa. So I would actually call this a win, because I have done stuff in those formats that is sustainable to me, I feel comfortable with, I'm really happy with. And whilst maybe I'm not like crushing that format in the same way that other people are, I feel really like chill and calm about it. I'm maybe like less stressed as I was at the beginning of the year in terms of like, I must be on all of the platforms and doing all of the things. Whereas now I'm just like, if something comes up, if we've got a video that like works for that format and we can like edit it down, then great. But if not, no worries. My next goal was to explore the idea of an office/studio. We did it. We did it. I moved in here in May. It's been a while. This is my second home. I have been using the studio less since being pregnant. Obviously, in like the 2 months that I was really sick, I barely came in here at all. And actually, now that I'm back to work a bit, I still don't have full energy. So I'm coming in here like half days maybe and not doing full days. That being said, today is a full day in the office. fun times. But a full day for me now, because of my situation, because of my condition, is like a 10 till 4. But now that I've been in this space for half of a year and it's all completely finished, like I've even got my curtains up now, thank you curtains, I feel like I've got a good sense of this was a good decision. Like this space is so great for me in terms of making content, having that work home life balance separation, being able to get out of the house every day now that I have the energy to, and obviously all of my home office stuff and all of my filming and podcasting equipment is now all here, and so space has been cleared out at home for room for a baby. And obviously I wasn't pregnant at the time when I moved into this place, but it was always something in the back of our mind of like, oh, when we do have a baby, I'll probably need to work outside of the home or figure that out. And it'll be interesting to see once baby is here, like figuring out still using this space and making the most of it. Like my lease is up in May 2023 and I have to give 6 months notice. So I hope I can still make the most of it, like with a baby. We will see. But I'm really pleased with this. I do wonder if this studio will just like end up with like a playmat and like baby toys and stuff in it if I need to work and parent at the same time. Is that even possible? I don't know. My next goal was around the content creation machine, and there is always a goal about this every single year in terms of figuring out a mental balance of feeling like I have to constantly churn out content every week and like worrying about the algorithm and all of that stuff. But I had some ideas in my mid-year goals video, because by the time that rolled around, had I done anything to try and combat that stress? No, I had not. But in the mid-year's goal video, I talked about my podcast video plans. I thought that it would help with the stress and anxiety of the content treadmill. And yes, it was useful to have those videos going out whilst I was sick and I couldn't put up other content, but I struggled through those edits. And now that we're back to my regular content schedule, I don't have the capacity to also do the podcast video edits. And also those videos just flopped because that's not what people like subscribed to my channel for. So there's definitely more to work out there. That definitely wasn't a solution for the content creation machine, but I think it can be a solution for something else, or it could be like its own fun thing. Like one thing that I'm flirting with the idea of is like, does Doing It podcast need its own YouTube channel, which is somewhere that we can put clips and stuff? But then am I just creating more work for myself? Hannah? The other thing that I mentioned was live streaming, because I was really inspired by Evelyn from the internets and the live streams that she was doing. And true to my word, I did a live stream talking about the new series of Sex Education. And that was so fun. Even though I felt horrendous whilst doing it, it did give me that like adrenaline boost to get through it, and having that back and forth and having that interaction, it's got me thinking about maybe turning Pleasure Trove into a live stream, live show kind of thing, so that it can be more interactive with the audience. Because one of the reasons why I wanted to create Pleasure Trove was like, hey, all of this stuff that's happening, let's talk about it. All of these things in the media and in the news and books and TV shows and stuff, like I want to talk about it with you. But having just like a video like this doesn't always lend itself well to the kind of interaction that I'm really like wanting to get out of that. So maybe, again, am I creating more work for myself? Next on my goals list was continue to grow my Patreon. And yes, at the beginning of the year, I wasn't setting metrics goals, but by mid-year, I was like, ooh, could I hit 1,000 patrons? Like, is that possible? Is that gonna happen? And guess what? I did. I have no idea what number I'm on at the time of this video going out, because there's always a natural churn of people like at the beginning of every month. But I hit the 1,000 number. Like, even if it's just temporary, it's fine. Oh my God, Patreon is one of my favorite parts of my job. I absolutely love it. I'm so grateful for my patrons who support the content that I make. It makes my work possible, it makes it enjoyable, it makes me feel financially and ethically aligned in what I do. And also, you guys did me a solid helping me out during my sick leave. So appreciate you. And then my final goal was to carve out creative free time. And this was such a vague goal that I set at the beginning of the year because I felt like I just needed a bit more wiggle room to express my creativity. But whilst that goal failed because it was a bit too vague and it was like putting pressure on myself in order to be creative at a certain time, one thing that did happen this year is for a month, I did a 4-day work week experiment and I loved that. Granted, I haven't been able to keep that up because of being ill, and then also now I'm kind of in the crunch time for the end of the year in order to like get everything done. And my capacity right now means I am doing shorter work days and working 5 days a week. But a 4-day work week, I now know is something that actually like is a goal of mine. And actually, dare I say it, a 3-day work week is a goal of mine. And it wasn't necessarily that time I got back was time for being creative. I see it as time to kind of like do whatever I want in. So maybe there's life admin to do, or maybe I feel like doing some cooking or baking, which I see as a creative endeavor. So I see the original goal as just being the wrong goal for me. And through like experiments and experiences, I've gotten more clarity over what it is I actually want and what it is that I actually need. And I think that's a really good place to be, because oftentimes we set goals without actually thinking about what it is that we want. We just kind of like create arbitrary goals for the sake of it. But I feel like I'm in a good place now where I could actually try and construct a realistic, smart goal that actually like hits the things that are going to be good for me. Okay, and now we are on to my home stretch goals, and I'm just talking career ones here. The personal ones are still in the works. We're still working on them. We've got time. My first home stretch goal is to hire a creative producer, and the ball is rolling on this at the time of filming. We're at like the next stage at the time of you seeing this. Maybe it'll be like interviews, or maybe I'll have found someone. I don't know. This is happening. It is a work in progress and I'm feeling good about it. My second goal is to write my IC essay, which is my sexuality educator course. And what I have quickly realized is that getting back to work and doing my regular content and then hiring somebody on top of that and writing an essay on top of that and still not being at full capacity because of pregnancy, on top of that, this is the thing that is falling to the wayside. I have started doing the reading, so like stuff has been done to work towards this. Progress is being made, not as much as I would like. And one of the things that I think it's made me realize is that I need to treat school like school. So at the moment, I try and fit in doing IC stuff during my working day, during my work hours, because it is professional development, but that's not really working for me. And so I think in order to get this done, I'm gonna have to work on my essay over Christmas. It's like being at uni again. So I'm giving myself until the 10th of January and I will write this essay, damn it. My next goal was to create 5 new podcast episodes, and this is done. Nailed it. So we'll actually have made 6 episodes, 1 with Dan, 4 interview guests, and then a final like end of year wrap up with my assistant Moog. Very excited about that. And then also I've got 2 more interviews scheduled in that I'm doing this side of Christmas that will be January episodes, so that I'm not rushing back. But one thing that I would like to do is to get some recordings scheduled in January so that we can keep the ball rolling on the podcast. But yeah, feeling good about that. Tick, 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 home stretch goals. And there we have it. We have a real mixture of successes, failures that I don't see as failures. We're just adapting to life and we're adapting to more information and circumstances, because oftentimes we make goals and we don't have all of the information available to us, and then when we have new information we change the goals, and sometimes the goals were not the right goal to begin with, and it's actually the goal's fault and not yours. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that your end of 2021 goes well. I hope that you have found some clarity, whatever that looks like for you this year, in terms of maybe goals that you want to set going forwards and things that you want to need in life. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!